Hi, in this video, we are going to talk about statistics and simple statistical instruments. So, ano ba ina-expect natin dito? At the end of this lesson, you are going to correctly define statistics, accurately differentiate sample from population, differentiate ungrouped data from group data, and inferential from descriptive statistics. And also appropriately apply concepts in statistics in real-world or real-life word problems. And after that, you'll be asked to pose real-life problems that can be solved by statistics. Okay, so ano bang dapat nating masagot sa lesson na ito? Unang-una, what are real-life problems that can be solved using statistics? How can we use statistics to solve real-world or real-life problems? Okay, sasagutan natin ito, hopefully at the end of our lesson. Ano nga ba ang statistics? What is statistics? Right. Statistics is a branch of mathematics that deals with collecting, organizing, and interpreting data to address a certain phenomenon. So in order for us to understand and have a better knowledge about a certain phenomenon, bakit nangyayari yan, paano nangyayari yan, ano bang patterns dyan. So, that can be explained by collecting data, organizing the data, and interpreting data. And that is by statistics. Example. Doctors use statistics to understand a certain illness, such as cancer, and give them an idea of what treatment would be effective to use. Okay, ang statistics ginagamit yan para ma-understand nila lalo, no? For them to have a better understanding about this illness, halimbawa sa cancer. And kung ano ba yung dapat na gamot, ano ba yung effective na gamot laban dito. Okay? So, that's one use of statistics. Another would be a marketing strategist use statistics to see the current trend, okay? Current trend of the market and devise solutions on how companies could sell more of their products. So, ito naman, no, it deals on patterns, ano? Ano bang trending ngayon? So, ano bang uso ngayon? Okay? So, nagkakaroon ng survey, nagkakaroon ng ano bang mas mabenta ngayon. Alright? And doon nila binabase yung mga recommendations nila about a certain strategy on how to sell their products. When we deal with statistics, we need to understand two basic concepts. Pinaka-basic na concepts. We have what we call a population. Population. When we say population, that's the set of all data. Take note, all data under a study. Okay? Lahat sila. Lahat ng gusto mong studyhan. Right? It could be the people that are concerned, the people that you want to study. Okay? Example niyan, a study regarding the average height of students in a school. So, ang study mo, height ng estudyante in a particular school. So, it requires the set of all students studying in that school as its population. Okay? Kasi ang study mo about the height of the students in that school. So, your population would be lahat ng estudyante in that particular school. Okay? Gusto mong malaman ang average height ng lahat ng estudyante sa school. Pero, lalo na kapag maraming estudyante sa isang school, aabot na ng halos 1,000 or more than that. So, tapos limited yung resources and time ni researcher. So, hindi niya pwedeng i-interviewin lahat. Hindi niya pwedeng i-survey, isa-isahin lahat ng mga estudyante sa school na yan. So, ang mangyayari, pipili siya ngayon ng iilan sa kanila. And we call that a sample. Okay, sample. Sample, di ba, kung matatandaan niyo sa Showtime, when they shout for a sample. So, a celebrity may have a lot of talents, but when we say sample, to show some or one of his or her talents. So, ganun din yung sample natin sa statistics. So, in the whole population under study, gagamit lang tayo ng ilan sa kanila. So, that's the set of data drawn from the population. Okay? Ginagawa ito kapag maraming data, maraming involved sa study. Okay? If the population is too large, ang gagawin ni researcher para less ang time, less ang effort, less ang resources, kapag limited yung tatlo, then gagamit siya ngayon ng sample. Okay? Gagamit siya ng sample. So, meaning the population is bigger, of course, in number than the sample size. Right? Example, a study regarding the average height of the students that we had earlier, in a particular school. It may only focus on the sample set of students in a single grade level who are studying in that school. Okay? Pwede namang hindi lahat. Halimbawa, sa isang buong high school, okay, from grade 7 to grade 10, if your study is about the average height of a particular high school, then kung marami masyado, if the population of that school is too large, then pwede namang sa isang grade level lang. Okay? Yung isang grade level lang ang kukunin. Alright? And that is considered as a sample. Example, try it. For a certain study focusing on all grade 7 students, Mrs. Anapa wanted to get 5 representatives only from each section in grade 7 level due to limited resources. Ito yung sinasabi ko, limited resources. So, hindi niya kayang interviewin lahat ng grade 7 students. So, kukuha siya ngayon ng 5 representatives from each section in the grade 7. In this situation, what are the population in the sample? Okay, let's analyze this. So, the population would be the whole or lahat ng grade 7 students because the study is focusing on all grade 7 students. Pero dahil sa maraming grade 7 students and limited ang resources niya, kukuha siya ng sample. Ano ngayon yung sample niya? So, the sample is the set of all representatives from each section in the population of grade 7 level. Halimbawa, there are 10 sections in grade 7. 10 sections sa grade 7. So, 5 representatives each section. So, 5 times 10, that would be 50 students. Okay? Out of all the grade 7 students, kukuha siya ngayon ng 50 students as the sample. So, yun lang yung i-interviewin, yun lang ang sasagot ng survey. Now, there are 2 main branches of statistics. Okay, 2 main branches of statistics. We have, unang-una, we have what we call descriptive statistics. And yung isa naman ay inferential statistics. Inferential. So, ano ba yung kaibahan ng dalawa? Unahin natin si descriptive. When we say descriptive statistics, it is a branch of statistics that summarizes, ayun, summary. And it describes, from the word descriptive, describe. It describes important characteristics of the population or a sample. Ay summary lang ng data or yung description lang ng mga katangian ng isang data. Okay, let's have an example. Consider a study regarding the fruit preference. Fruit preference of 20 randomly chosen students in a certain school through a survey that consists of 6 given fruits. So, merong 6 na prutas. So, tatanungin ngayon yung mga randomly chosen students, 20 silang lahat, kung ano yung pinaka paborito nila or ano bang preferred fruit nila sa 6 na yon. Okay, i-interviewin sila. So, the data would be represented using tables, charts, pie graphs, and so on. Okay, so we call that as descriptive statistics. So ang mangyayari, yung data na i-present niya would be the figure, yung summary ng mga prutas na preferred na fruits ng mga estudyanteng na interview. Okay, so summary of the fruit preference of all those 20 students. So we can see here in the graph or in the chart that there are 4 students who preferred apples. There are 2 students who preferred bananas. Okay, yung highest, we have apples, mangoes, and oranges. So, tiga-apat sila. And second are grapes and strawberries, tigta-tatlo. Okay. That is just a descriptive statistics. Okay, descriptive. Summary lang ng results. Summary lang ng data. Okay, ng characteristics ng mga in-interview or ng mga sinurvey. Okay? Again, that's descriptive statistics. But when we say inferential statistics, it is used to draw conclusions. Okay, nagkakaroon na tayo ng conclusion. Based on a particular result, i-conclude natin, so therefore we say that, blah, 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 blah. Okay, which is hindi natin ginagawa sa descriptive statistics. Okay, we can also make predictions. Okay, make predictions. Halimbawa, ganito yung data. Ganito yung pattern. So, ibig sabihin, pag ito ginawa ng tao, most likely, ito yung mangyayari. So, nagkakaroon tayo ng prediction. We are able to predict what happens next. Okay? Kasi, gumamit na tayo ng inferential statistics. We can also make decisions about the characteristics of a population by looking at the information contained in a sample. Okay. So, kanina, we differentiate a sample from population. So, the population is bigger than a sample because the sample is drawn from the population. Now, for descriptive statistics, okay, i-describe lang niya kung anong characteristics ng sample. Pero when it comes to inferential statistics, of course, by using statistical tools, kung ano yung characteristics ng sample, we make use of that. We make use of the results in the sample to make predictions, to make conclusions, okay, regarding the whole population. Okay? Kung anong characteristics ng sample, we make use of this to conclude that that characteristics is also true to the population. Example, consider again the study regarding the fruit preference of 20 randomly chosen students in a certain school through a survey that consists of 6 given fruits. Yung example natin kanina. In inferential statistics, we can reason out that around 20% of all the students in the school prefers apple. Okay, let's take a look at this one. This is descriptive statistics. Ito yung result ng sample. So, sa descriptive statistics, i-display lang niya kung anong characteristics ng data. Okay? So, meaning sa sample, out of 20 students, 4 or 20% yung nagsabi na they preferred apple. Okay? 20% ang apple, 20% din ang mangoes, 20% din ang orange, sila yung highest. Okay? That's just the characteristics ng 20 students. Okay? That's descriptive. But when it comes to inferential, infer is to make conclusions. Now, dahil dito sa sample, 20% ang pumili ng apple, meaning to say, therefore, we can also say or conclude that 20% din ng whole population, the whole population of the school prefers apple. So, nagkaroon na tayo ng conclusion. And that is an example of an inferential statistics. In statistics, we also have what we call statistical instruments. These are the devices used by researchers to gather data. Okay? In order to collect data, they are going to use statistical instruments. Sometimes it is called research instruments. Example, a questionnaire is a device used by researchers to gather data from a set of population or sample. So, madalas ginagamit ito sa survey, yung questionnaire. we have two types of statistical instruments. We have what we call researcher-completed instruments and also subject-completed instruments. Researcher-completed instruments, these are statistical instruments specifically filled by a researcher. Okay, so si researcher mismo magsusulat, magre-record ng mga observations niya. Example, rating scales, yung interview schedules or guides, tally sheets, flowcharts, performance checklists, time and motion logs, and observation forms. These are examples of researcher-completed instruments which are to be filled by the researcher. Ibig sabihin, yung magre-record niyan, magsusulat ng mga observations, yung mga checklist, si researcher mismo. So, that's why we call it researcher-completed instruments. Okay? We also have what we call subject-completed instruments. So, subject-completed, ibig sabihin si respondent, si participant, okay, understudy, ang mag-fill out ng instrument. So, statistical instruments which are to be filled by the subject of the study are the ones being studied. Example, yung questionnaire, yung self-checklists, attitude scales, personality inventories, achievement or yung aptitude tests, projective devices, and sociometric devices. These are examples of subject-completed instruments which are to be filled by the subject. So, yung subject mismo yung magsusulat ng observation sa sarili niya. Halimbawa, yung sa questionnaires, di ba, may mga set of questions, and si subject, yung magsusulat, yung sasagot ng mga questions ng questionnaires. Yung self-checklist to see si respondent or si research participant or si subject, siya yung mag-checklist, no? Mag-check, ito, okay, ito, ganyan, ito, meron kong ganito. So, self-checklist. So, that's subject-completed instruments. Next, we have two types of data. Okay? We have ungrouped data, and also group data. Ano ba kaibahan ng dalawa? When we say ungrouped data, these are raw data. Hindi pa yung original pa. Okay? Hindi pa siya na-organize. Okay? That's raw data. Again, we call that ungrouped data. While yung group data naman, these are data presented in the form of frequency distribution. Okay? Frequency distribution. Ibig sabihin na-organize na ito. Okay? Hindi na siya yung original data mismo. Na-grupo na. So, that's why we call it group data. Or na-organize na siya. Okay? So, example, let's consider again the study regarding the fruit preference of 20 randomly chosen students in a certain school through a survey that consists of 6 given fruits. So, the given raw data is an example of ungrouped data. Ano bang sa chart nito? Ibig sabihin, si student 1, preferred niya yung apple. Si student 2, preferred niya yung banana. Si student 3, preferred niya yung mango, and so on. So, ito yung mga raw na sagot, okay? Raw data na tinatawag. Ungrouped, okay? Ungrouped data. So, ibig sabihin, hindi pa natin sila nagrupo. Hindi pa natin na-organize yung data. Again, we call that ungrouped data. When we say group data, example niyan yung naka-table, naka-grupo na, na-organize na, meron na siyang frequency distribution. Ano ba yung frequency distribution? Nakatali na. Okay? This table right here is an example of group data for that same study that we had, yung sa fruit preference ng 20 students. So, ibig sabihin, yung apple, may 4 na estudyanteng pumili ng apple. Okay? Bananas, may 2 estudyanteng pumili ng bananas. And yung grapes na tuloy. Grapes, merong 3. And so on. So, frequency distribution. Alright? Frequency distribution. This is an example of group data. Okay. We also have what we call classifications of data according to the source, based on the source of the data. So we have what we call primary data and also secondary data. Ano ba yung primary data? So, this can be collected by personal investigation, hiring trained investigators, using questionnaires, conducting surveys, and doing personal interviews. That's primary data. Ibig sabihin, ikaw mismo yung gumawa. Ikaw mismo yung kumuha ng data. So, first-hand information. Okay? That's primary data. Example, the data directly gathered by a field researcher of a government is an example of a primary data. Okay? Halimbawa, ako ay researcher ako, magkakandak ako ng study about internet addiction ng grade 7 students. So, ako yung magbibigay ng survey questionnaire sa grade 7 students. So, yung data na makollect ko, that's an example of a primary data. Okay? Primary data. Kasi ako mismo yung nag-collect ng data. It's a first-hand data. Okay? Original. Next, for secondary data naman, these are data that can be collected by reading research of other researchers. Studies of research organizations or articles from journals and newspapers, which are basically second-hand information. Ano? Kung ang primary ay first-hand information, yung secondary data naman, these are second-hand information. They are already collected by someone else and used for a particular purpose. Halimbawa niyan yung data na kinukuha natin sa PSA, yung Philippine Statistics Authority. Ano? That's an example of secondary data. If you want to know yung ilang bang mga bata ang nabubuhay, ilang bang population ng Pilipinas, anong population ng Davao, and so on. So, kinukuha natin yan in a government agency just like Philippine Statistics Authority, and we consider that as a secondary data kasi hindi tayo mismo yung kumuha ng data. Okay? Kinuha lang natin sa PSA na sila yung may first-hand information. So, tayo, nagagamit nun. That's a second-hand information and that's considered secondary data. Okay, let's try this. Example 2 na ito. Charmaine wanted to know if her classmates already submitted the necessary forms for scholarship application. What statistical instrument can she use to ensure accuracy of data? So, gustong malaman ni Charmaine kung nakasubmit na ba lahat ng kaklase niya for the scholarship application. Ano ngayon ang statistical instrument na gagamitin niya? Okay, now in this situation, we can conclude that Charmaine needs to ask her classmates if they already submitted the necessary forms. Okay, due to the possible high number of her classmates, Charmaine can have a hard time if she directly checked the forms of her classmates one by one. Halimbawa, may 50 classmates si Charmaine. So, it would be tedious for her to ask her classmates one by one. So, ang gagawin niya, subject completed instrument ang gagamitin niya. So, let's recall that subject-completed instrument is a statistical instrument which is to be filled by the subject of the study or the ones being studied. Okay? So, instead na si Charmaine yung gagawa, isa-isa sa kanila, ang gagawin niya to save time, Charmaine can use a checklist. Okay? That is to be filled by her classmates. So, sila na, magdi-distribute na lang siya to ensure that each of them already submitted the necessary documents for scholarship application. Okay, checklist ang ginamit. Alright? And so that's it for this video. Kung nakatulong ang video na ito upang maintindihan nyo ang lesson about Introduction to Statistics, please give it a like. Thumbs up naman dyan. And if you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe. Hit that red subscribe button and the notification bell so you'd be notified whenever I upload videos like this. Thank you very much for watching.